Hey guys, welcome to an interesting video on Wild Rift. So today we're back with an Ezreal updated complete guide. Now we haven't talked about Ezreal in like months, I think. That's because Ezreal's build hasn't really changed. And honestly here, it still hasn't really changed, but the only real change here is like the mole reminder option. And I'm going to talk about the options you have, because Ezreal basically only really needs 2 core items and the rest is kind of a little bit flexible. So but before we get too much into it, don't forget to check out Ezreal's basic guide. I'll put in the cards above for his skills, living order, tips and tricks, as well as some combos. But with all that said, let's jump into Ezreal's items and a couple of changes to it. So the first change is, last time you used to start off Manamune, but honestly, I believe that Ezreal is the champion that charges Manamune up the fastest in the game, just because of how he can spam his W as well as his Q. So honestly, you don't even need to rush your Manamune anymore. You can actually rush Gluttonous Greaves, and this actually plays into Ezreal's like kind of, I wouldn't say it's a new playstyle, but it's kind of like a different identity of the champion, where he's now very strong in the early lane because of like Kraken Slayer being buffed and how good Kraken Slayer is, and how easy Ezreal can proc it. Ezreal's now really strong like levels 1, 2, and 3. So you can actually get kills early, you can snowball, and you can actually get Gluttonous Greaves to get that injection of AD, and you can actually snowball the game as Ezreal, like, believe it or not. So I think Gluttonous Greaves first is now the way to go, and then you go into your 2 core items, which is going to be Manamune, of course, for your mana, as well as your on-hit damage on your auto attacks, as well as your abilities, and of course your Triforce, again, all of that good stats, on-hit on your Q as well, on your auto attacks with the Spellblade passive, and of course all the good stats, the health, the AD, the attack speed, etc. So these are basically Ezreal's 2 core items plus boots. So the rest of the build can be a little bit flexible. Now there is an alternative build, which is not this, like this one, where you go for like Essence Reaver, Bloodthirster, and Grudge. I think the Essence Reaver Bloodthirster build is alright, but I don't really think it's the best build to go. I think that the better way to go is like Riftmaker 3rd item. So Riftmaker pretty much just gives you, just the best of both worlds. AP Ezreal doesn't scale as well as AD, but it's still an okay stat for Ezreal. What you really like this for is the other stats. You get health, you got ability haste, Omnivamp is really good on Ezreal, and of course your Void Corruption passive to deal true damage, just really good. Then we have a new item into Ezreal, which is Mole Reminder. Now, the reason why Ezreal didn't build this originally is because Ezreal is not a crit champion. He doesn't really build crit. So Mole Reminder, it gives crit, it doesn't really seem all that helpful, it's kind of a waste of gold, but reality, Mole Reminder is still a really good item simply because it gives you Grievous Wounds and Armor Pen in one item. So instead of having to go for, let's say, Seralda's Grudge and Kempang Chainsword, you can instead just go for one Mole Reminder to give you both Armor Pen as well as Grievous Wounds. So you only really want to go for this in games where you need, some anti-heal, like in games where there's a lot of healing. Otherwise, you of course can still go back to going for your Seralda's Grudge, which of course is still not, I wouldn't say the better one, but I would say is the more useful one in terms of getting slows, because Ezreal, with that, really hard to kite, really easy for him to kite and really hard to chase him down. So for the last item, it's going to be Blade of the Rune King. Majority of matches nowadays, you do of course run into champions that are very tanky, so getting the extra current health on hit damage, which of course is going to work on your Q and things like that as well, really good. The rest of the stats and passives are very useful as well. Now of course, as the last item, other options you have are defensive options, such as of course your GA for the revive, your Maul if you're into a very heavy AP team, or even a Crown if you need that spell shield, options like that. So for the runes, as I said, Kraken Slayer is basically the default rune on Ezreal now, just the most OP rune on Ezreal. You can easily proc it with the auto Q auto, and it makes you really strong in lane as well as in later stages of the game with the extra burst from Kraken Slayer. Brutal, of course, because you still auto attack a decent amount. Giant Slayer, because it gives you the most value in this slot. Of course, we have Bloodline here. Ezreal doesn't need to any more attack speed because he gets it from his passive. And he also has attack speed from Triforce and Bork. And finally, of course, Bone Plating for the defensive capabilities, and Flash and Exhaust for the spells. Obviously, Ezreal doesn't really need Ghost or anything like that. But with all that said, we can move on to the gameplay. Alright, so first things first, of course, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Any questions, queries, or remarks, feel free to leave them in the comments below, and I will, of course, be sure to address them or at least drop a like. So into the gameplay itself. Now Ezreal, really not a support dependent champion. Ezreal's that kind of champion you can pick any support with. You know, you can go with engagers, you can go with enchanters, but what he doesn't really like is those kind of supports that are meant to only buff you. So champions like Lulu or Yuumi are not very good with Ezreal because Ezreal is not a hyper carry that really wants that kind of support. However, Ezreal with Yuumi or Lulu could still work if the Lulu or Yuumi is meant to buff someone else. So let's say if you have a carry in another lane, like let's say you have like a Aatrox that could be a raid boss in the top lane, and you use your Yuumi uses you to kind of just get through the lane and the mid game, and then just perma attaches to Aatrox in the later stages of the game. That's how Ezreal Yuumi works, or Ezreal Lulu works. As Ezreal doesn't want to be the one that's buffed. He doesn't really need those buffs. He's just kind of a very independent, very kind of just safe champion. You know, while we were just talking about that, we already gotten a quick kill with the Kraken Slayer. As you guys can see, the power of the Kraken Slayer is completely insane. Just with the autos and the Qs, you can proc it really easily. And you know, probably Senna was surprised by the damage. She pops the heal and the flash, still dies. TF has to flash away as well. Of course, I did use my flash and my exhaust as well. But you know, we're still in a really good state. Only summoner spells left are Twisted Fate, Ghost, and Leona Flash, of which obviously I think Leona's Flash is a lot better here to just catch someone out later on. We are, however, taking quite a bit of abuse because, of course, off of the death, Senna's gonna be like full HP, full resources, whereas we didn't really manage to back after that. Either which way, we are still getting a pretty good freeze going on outside our tower, so we should be relatively safe. This is a honestly kind of scary lane to kind of play against because Twisted Fate could gold card you into a Senna W, and you will get chain CC for a long time. So you don't really want to find yourself out of position because that could spell doom. So that definitely doesn't want to happen. But by the way, guys, this is a really wonky enemy team comp. I'm sure you guys know this for yourself already, but there's like a Samira jungle, there's a full AP Nasus mid, and there's a TF bot lane, which we don't know if he's building on hit or like AP or like AD on hit, but he's probably going to build some form of on hit because he does have a recurve bow now, and we have a Senna support, so they have a really wonky team comp. Here Leona goes in onto Twisted Fate. I try my best to follow up. When we do actually go in, Twisted Fate gets ignited, lives on 1 HP. Unfortunately, we weren't quite able to get that one last auto in. If we were able to actually follow up immediately when Leona went in, we would have actually just gotten the kill there, but unfortunately we were just slightly behind, so we did have to kind of just catch up just a little bit. This does shove TF out of the lane though. He actually goes for the fruit, I believe, and doesn't actually recall, so he's like critical HP, like a quarter HP or so, and obviously he's gonna die to like any kind of just engage here. We do it level 5 as well. Here we can see Evelyn kind of just fishing around for a gank. Of course, TF is very low, can easily be finished off by the Evelyn. Evelyn just goes in, flashes past the Senna, finishes off the TF with the ulti. And yeah, you know, that's not too surprising. TF got really greedy by sticking around instead of basing. And yeah, he gets punished for it. Now here, honestly, I think I make a mistake by interrupting Senna's base. I think if I actually just let her base, it would have been better because I could just free hit onto the tower and get plates. But now instead here we have to contend with her clearing wave and just hitting us. So that was definitely a mistake by me. Samira in the jungle just comes over, eats a Q, and is like half health. Can't really do very much unless you know, Senna engages with a W, but that's not very likely to happen. So she just walks away. We just back. We pick up our tier, as well as a longsword building towards the Manamune. And yeah, so you could also go for a early Sheen. Of course, now Sheen only costs 800 gold after like a couple of updates ago. So you could actually also go for Sheen early if you want to. But honestly, I've personally felt that ever since Ezreal got his got the multiple buffs, like what you can see here, you can see you do more than enough damage without the Sheen. So I don't actually think you need to rush Sheen anymore. Now here, Shen ult comes in, so we're gonna have to just back off a little bit. Yeah, I mean, Ezreal got his Q buffed. Of course, Kraken Slayer got buffed. Triforce got buffed as well. It's like a triple buff for Ezreal at one point in time. You can see Shen ults in, but Senna still dies. Like, he can't protect the Senna from the Leona engage and just from my follow-up damage. and he's taking a ton of damage as well. Twist of Fate comes in with a auto attack, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like if he stun carded Leona, there's a decent chance that Leona actually dies because we are really far up in the lane, and Leona is really low. So I think he kind of trolled there because he didn't lock in the gold card at all, and yeah, it's kind of just really weird situation here. So of course we're kind of spamming our spells as we walk back to lane to charge up the Manamune faster. And yeah, so first item completed. Of course, Ezreal not that strong on yet because he hasn't evolved. Here I managed to get a snipe onto the Samira. Of course, I wasn't actually planning to kill the Samira, but I was just trying to get damage and contribute to my team because the whole enemy bot lane actually rotated to the Herald fight, but I did not. I'm still in the top lane, going for the what I think is the more consistent play of getting tower plates. So here I'm just whacking the tower. So in the meantime, I'm going to show the fight going on at the Herald. Yeah, you can see here I'm just whacking tower. I'm getting the tower plates for myself. Here you can see we get Ezreal's attack speed passive as well, just putting in the work onto the tower. Now here, I actually thought that Senna and Gang are rotating up, so I actually back away from the tower, but I actually see her recalling now, so I'm actually recommitting to the tower. Now if I actually committed to this tower, I would have actually gone the first tower of the game, I believe. But here you can see like tower's at 161, and I actually turn back again because I have my W up, so I want to W the tower. I get the W onto the tower, it's now at 62 HP. So if I didn't actually turn around just now when Senna was recalling, I would have actually gotten the first tower right here, which is a little bit annoying that I didn't manage to do that. But anyways, we're going to Herald bot. We're going to get first tower of the game bot anyway, in trade for the dragon. Here Hex Slash over the wall via Leona goes in onto Senna. I managed to actually thread the Neil and hit the Q onto the Senna. Senna's actually really low now, but I can't really just hop in. I have my E of course, but I can't hop into like 4 enemies. That wouldn't be a very good idea. So I'm going to have to just play safe and continue on just poking and chunking. Senna is still sticking around at relatively low HP, so there is always an opportunity for something to be done here. I'm just going to clear this wave. Nasa's AP with the Luden's proc, doing a little bit of chunk damage onto us. So now we're going to hit back to top to catch the wave. As well as, of course, the next wave is going to be coming in, mirroring our wave. We're going to actually ult the wave to push the wave faster so we can secure this top lane tower. Now, I have no idea where the enemy team is. That's why I'm trying to shove as fast as possible, because I really want to just get this tower like so. And then I can finally just back off and, you know, just get, go about my day with other, other activities other than trying to just get this top lane tower. So here, we get all of the Triforce components, but don't quite have enough for the full Triforce. Unfortunately, we can't really... I mean, we could have stuck around, but there isn't anything for us to farm. Anyway, we don't want to go so far up to farm wave. And there's no jungle for us to farm. So here, Senna is trying to get the bounty on this bot lane tower. We're not going to let her do that. We're just going to show up to clear the wave. We're 4-0-1 now, decently fed. A ton of gold, in the pocket. Here a fight is breaking out in the mid lane. I see a very low Nasus. I'm trying to snipe him with the ulti while he's recalling on the tower, or so I think. He turns out not to be recalling on the tower at all. He probably walked further back and wasn't greedy with the recall on the tower, knowing that there's an Ezreal on the enemy team. I get spotted and I get whacked by a Nasus E, which of course does a really good amount of damage because he's building AP. He has Ludens, so it's doing quite a chunk onto me. I'll clear out the mid wave to prevent them from getting that as well. Of course, as I mentioned in a lot of my videos, it's really hard to defend all of your outer towers from enemy bounties, but you can still try your best, which is what I'm doing here, to delay, when they can get those bounties. Here, Shen goes in with the taunt, but eats a Darius auto when he has passive. Here, I'm gonna get a huge 4-man ulti, kills the kills the Senna instantly, and then I'm flashing forward to finish the the Shen, and Nasus nearly goes down. Samir nearly goes down as well. Nasus with a recall on the tower. I'm trying to snipe him, but he is paying attention and he just walks away. Our prize, however, is going to be the mid lane tier 1. And here you can see Samira taking a lot of damage and actually nearly dies to the burn. Does she die to the burn? No, she does not. Tower dies instead. Here we just E forward, finish off the Twisted Fate real quickly. And yeah, you can see the insane amounts of damage Ezreal does. This is why I think Ezreal is like an S+ tier champion. I think he's one of the best champions in the game. He's really safe, does a lot of damage, but he does have a lot of glaring weaknesses though, which is why I don't think he's really the best. Like the main one is the lack of wave clear, and the second main one is the lack of carry potential. And what I mean by that is, if you know, your team is getting completely destroyed and you are even, there is no world in which an Ezreal carries the game unless the enemy team kind of just trolls and just lets him free hit for days or something like that. Whereas if you're like another champion like a Kai'Sa or a Tristana, if you are even and your whole team is behind, when you get to like the later stages of the game, if you can hold on, you can be, you know, that hyper carry that is going to be able to just carry your team. Whereas Ezreal is just, you know, is just not that. So here I'm trying to set a trap, you know, on the Nasus. I managed to miss my Q point blank, which is kind of embarrassing. We are still going to kill him eventually though, just with auto attacks, you know, and other spells. Here we just ult to get, you know, damage onto, you know, the entire enemy team. I'm just going for, in this match, I'm pretty much going for the high value ults. And what I mean by that is, I'm not necessarily going for the 1 HP targets. I'm going for like, when like 3 or 4 people are standing together. I'm trying to get a ult onto multiple people to kind of get more value from my ult, you know, with the damage onto multiple people. You know, we're now going to go for the dragon. Of course, we have the necessary wards to know if the enemy team is coming. Samira is making her way here, but we already get the dragon. Leona goes over the wall to engage onto Samira. Huge CC onto Samira, but Shen ult comes in to save her. She does eventually die though, removed from the equation by me and my team. And now the fight is kind of going in our favor. I'm just trying to be a little bit cautious here to not overextend. Darius goes in with the Hex Flash and gets 2 kills now. Does end up dying eventually to Nasus. And now we're just going to go ahead and grab the mid wave while Leona's getting the counter jungle onto the Raptors. And we're running a little bit low on mana at this point, so we might want to just back and get items as well as mana. So that's exactly what we're going to do. Gonna head back to the base. Also completing our Riftmaker in the process. Not wasting any time because of how big this wave is. We're gonna lose minions to the tower if we take too much time to regain our mana. Not sure why I threw my W there, because W doesn't work on minions, but yeah, kind of just mashing my buttons, I guess. We get the whole minion wave. Darius tries to Hex Flash with the Q to steal the last minion, which is pretty funny. I mean, now Hex Flash is just a 20-second cooldown. You can just use it pretty much anytime you feel like it. And he takes the red buff, which is really annoying because I could make so much better use of the red buff. I mean, he's pretty fed as well. But ADCs are always the best users of red buff because they have so much DPS, which allows them to reapply red buff consistently. Compared to a fed top laner, you know, which is not going to be able to do that because they don't actually auto attack as much as an ADC, or things like that. So here, you know, eliminate Senna from the equation, and we're so ahead as a team that we can pretty much just do Baron, just like that. 13-minute Baron. Should be able to crack open a couple of inhibs at least. Shen is now split pushing. Nasus is perhaps coming over to contest. Samira is still nowhere in sight. Here she is coming down toward the Baron. We already secure it. And Leona actually gets an engage onto the Samira. Samira cleanses out of it with the QSS. Unfortunately, we can't really grab her. You can see that my W ult does actually so much damage that it destroys the entire Shen shield. Now here we hop in pretty recklessly. We manage to finish off Samira before she can actually ult. I'm trying to finish off the Sister Fate. He flashes away and I get rooted by Senna. I hop away to prevent myself from maybe getting followed up. But Senna's building like full tank, so she's not doing a lot of damage. Sister Fate turns back up to the party and we are able to finish him off. Now here we nearly managed to finish off the Senna, but she's stuck on 1 HP. And we don't quite get her, but yeah. So here, you know, we try to snipe her we aim for the base and try to snipe her because I did think she would probably recall and be at low HP. Either timing was wrong or she didn't actually recall at all, but she's walking to the base. Here I'm going to grab the enemy blue buff to try to resolve my mana issues. So here I get the more reminder components. Of course, in this match, a lot of healing on the enemy team. We have Senna as a healer. Twisted Fate has, you know, healing with the Riftmaker, as well as, of course, Samira with the Bloodthirster. So a lot of healing. Getting the more reminder really helpful in this particular match.
Killing spree.
And now the fight's breaking out. Again, we're going to ult the choke point. We get a 3-man ulti Of course, dashing forward, Darius picks up a triple. And we're just gonna grab this tower with the last, Baron minion that we have there. And yeah, we have the healing from Gluttonous Greaves as well as the Riftmaker. We can heal up Nasus's poke pretty much, and now we're gonna just focus this tower. Like that, so we got one inhib secured, which also removes the Nexus shield. And now our team, I think, is going for the second one. I'm just going to back and grab myself the Mole Reminder on the base, and now just rejoin my team. My team hopefully doesn't start a fight right at the enemy's base. Looks like it is going to happen though, so I'm going to just launch my ult to see if I can hit some people. I end up only hitting the Senna, unfortunately, and you can see the fight is breaking out. Evelyn does get the execute onto the Samira, and now I'm reaching the fight. My team is now just backing off because they're getting a little bit chunked out, because they don't really have me to kind of DPS for them. Darius goes in onto the Shen, and Shen ends up going down. Locket comes in. And yeah, so here a little bit difficult to really get much done here. We're trying to chase down the Senna. We do get her. But it's really difficult to just force the end of a game just like that. Of course, enemy has desynced death timers, which means that they're always going to have someone up to defend. So here we're going to go for the safer option, which is to just go for the dragon. Whilst they're doing that, I'm just clearing up these waves to, number one, get the goal, but number two, force the waves in, which is going to force the enemy team to respawn, pretty much guaranteeing us a free dragon. Baron now coming up in 15 seconds, going to be the next target of my team. And here I'm going to just get a stasis just to be safe. If Samira gets off a good ult or something like that, we can use the stasis to protect us. We don't really need it, but at this point we are so fed, we don't really need to rush our last item. We would benefit a lot from the extra safety and just preventing ourselves from giving over like a 1k shutdown to someone on the enemy team. That would not be very ideal at all, of course. Now just grabbing all of these minions, clearing up the minion wave. I'm now rotating to my team. My team is spotted by Twisted Fate ult. Fight is breaking out. Again, I'm going to ult the choke point. Hits, I think, like 2 or 3 people at this point. I get the Riftmaker off of that as well. I'm just now hopping in. I'm not sure why Orianna ulted me. I'm not a member of the enemy team. But anyways, here I'm just trying to, get some work done. I get a nice Q onto Nasus. Chunks in for like a quarter of his health. And Senna now getting caught. I'm following up. But remember, she is building tank, so she's really tanky. Difficult to kill her, in a jiffy. Samira nearly just gets one shot by my Q and Orianna's QW. So here at this point, we were trying to force the end of the game, but you can see that's not really working out. It's really difficult to force. Both Elder and Baron are left alive, so probably the better way is to go grab the objectives and then end the game. We are down a Leona, but we should still be able to secure this with our huge gold lead. We have like a 12,000 gold lead on the enemy team at this point. So it should be a relatively free objective. Should be a relatively free game. My whole team is basically fed. I'm Giga fed, so is Darius. And yeah, so here we get off a nice ult. Samira tries to come in to steal. Thankfully, Evelyn secures it. I'm able to auto her with the Elder buff to kill her off. And I'm just hitting whoever I can, whoever's the most front target. Darius gets a huge 3-man hook. I pick up a double. Unfortunately, one other person goes down there, so it's only a triple. No quadra or penta for me. But that should be the end of the game. Whole enemy team is wiped. We have a wave in top. That is going to spell the end of the game. So here, I'm going to leave you guys with the stats as usual. Thank you guys so much for watching the video, and goodbye.
Victory!